Good evening, you're watching the late news on HKIBC. I'm Harminder Singh. Here are tonight's top stories. All passengers and crew on board Lion Air aeroplane feared dead after it crashes into Indonesian waters. Privacy Commissioner worried about phishing scams after massive data leak at Cathay Pacific. And hundreds of passengers complain about long waits for buses at Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge. A Lion Air aeroplane carrying 189 people has crashed into Indonesian waters shortly after takeoff from Jakarta. Rescuers have recovered 6 bodies, but no survivors. Sarah Wong reports.
Indonesian authorities have confirmed a Lion Air passenger jet crashed into the Java Sea minutes after takeoff this morning. The brand new plane was carrying 181 passengers and 8 crew members. Flight JT610 took off at 7:17 a.m. Hong Kong time and lost contact with air traffic controllers 13 minutes later. The jet was 1,130 meters above sea level when contact was lost. The airplane was making a regional flight from the capital Jakarta to Bangka-Belitung, a city in an island chain of Sumatra. Indonesian air navigation authorities said the pilots requested to return to the airport shortly before losing contact. The country's search and rescue agency later confirmed that the aircraft plunged into waters of West Java. The waters are 30 to 35 meters deep. Debris from the airplane was seen floating on the sea surface. Personal belongings such as crushed smartphones and ID cards had been collected. Around 300 rescuers continue scouring the area for passengers. The cause of the crash remained unknown. Families packed the arrival gate at Depati Amir Airport in Pangkal-Pinang, anxiously waiting news for their loved ones. Indonesian President Joko Widodo has ordered a probe into the crash and pledged his country's best efforts to search for victims. The aircraft was a Boeing 737 MAX 8, an updated, more fuel-efficient version of the single-aisle jet. It was delivered to Lion Air in August. The airline is one of Indonesia's youngest and biggest airlines. Lion Air CEO Edward Sire said the jet has suffered technical issues before, but revealed no plan to ground the rest of its 737 MAX 8 fleet. Boeing said the company stood ready to provide technical assistance to accident investigators. Sarah Wong, HKIBC.
Locally, Privacy Commissioner Stephen Wong has said that since there were no laws to do so, Cathay Pacific had a moral responsibility to reveal the data leak that affected 9.4 million passengers earlier than it did. He also warned victims of the data breach of phishing attacks. Riley Chan reports.
Police officers were seen at Cathay Pacific's headquarters this morning to collect evidence in connection to a massive data breach that happened 7 months ago. The city's flagship carrier and its subsidiary Cathay Dragon disclosed the breach on Wednesday. The company said that personal data of 9.4 million passengers had been leaked, including telephone numbers, dates of birth, and addresses. Cathay Pacific was slammed by privacy advocates for disclosing the data breach 5 months after it was confirmed. But Privacy Commissioner Stephen Wong admitted on a radio program today that there were no regulations in place to force companies to reveal data leaks. He said it was a moral responsibility rather than a legal one. Wong said his office was considering introducing the European Union's latest General Data Protection Regulation to Hong Kong, which required companies to disclose breaches within 72 hours. The privacy chief also warned victims of the data breach to guard against phishing attempts, a concern also voiced by Cathay Pacific and IT experts earlier. Wong said he had personally received an email purportedly from the airline, but he had not opened it out of fear that it may be a scam. He reminded victims of the leak to watch out for suspicious emails to avoid giving out more personal information. The commissioner revealed that his office had received 24 complaints and 27 inquiries so far. Most questions were about receiving compensation. The watchdog has approached the airline and asked for preliminary information in order to assess the scale of the incident and see if an in-depth investigation was needed. Cathay Pacific was given 10 days to comply. The carrier has not responded. Riley Chan, HKIBC.
More than 77,000 passengers